I'm from Cancer Research UK, so just thank you so much for inviting me along to talk. A real pleasure to speak with you, with you all this evening. And I've had the privilege of working with Cancer Research UK for over 14 years. Always been in a community-focused role, kind of public-facing, working with really closely with our volunteers, our different community groups, committees, corporate partners, our shops. So kind of varied roles, but always with the community kind of at the heart of what I've been doing. And most recently, the really special team of legacies. But yeah, connecting with communities is what I'm really passionate about. And yeah, I hope to just kind of talk to you a little bit today about who Cancer Research UK are, what we do, and we'll have a little bit of fun while we're at it. So we do have a little game in there, which I hope you'll take part in. So without further ado, fingers crossed for the technology, I will share my screen.
Okay, can everyone see that okay?
Is that okay? Brilliant. So we've called this session Driving Progress, Bringing Hope and Living Well, which is kind of the kind of ethos of Cancer Research UK and our real strategy of kind of making a difference for people's lives. And it's all about that, yeah, that progress, those discoveries. So again, we'll kind of talk through a little bit about that throughout the presentation. So before we start, I mean, just why I'm here, or why it's so personal for me, but it's deeply affected my family. It's incredibly personal. You know, I want to live in a world without cancer, and I'm sure it's the case for so many of you that are listening today as well, that it's, you know, perhaps affected you personally, perhaps you know, your family members, you know, those that you care about. So it is just, it's yeah, what can I say? It touches far too many people. We all have our stories. For me, the people in these photographs are my inspiration. So I'm in the middle. I'm not my inspiration, but that's me in the middle with my mum. I've got a wee number on my jumper because I've just done a race for life. But my sidekick there is my world. My inspiration is my mum, who you'll see at the side photo there, also went through a cancer journey that really kind of shook us about 6 or 7 years ago now. She is cancer free. She's doing incredibly well. She herself gets involved in supporting the community and doing amazing things. But you know, that was really, really close to home, and just kind of, I was already obviously working with Cancer Research UK for a long time at that point, but that was really, you know, that really kind of, yeah, made it all so very real. Those two strapping young gentlemen, those are my granddads. They are wearing cancer survivor t-shirts because actually they took part in a Cancer Research UK event, a really special event in their hometown of Dunbar, where local cancer survivors were invited to come along and kind of start the proceedings of this particular event. And it was a really amazing, emotional, I did shed a tear on that day because I was just so proud of them. And again, just everything they've been through in their own cancer journey. So there's people in my life that continue to inspire me. It's a pleasure to have a small part in this huge organization that makes a big difference in the world, and this small part of being able to communicate the work of the charity in the community is something I'm really passionate about. You might be able to tell. But where did we all begin? So the Cancer Research UK story begins, I mean, I love this old picture from the 1900s. It shows the charity's origins, from when the Imperial Cancer Research Fund, as we were known then, was founded in 1902. So back then, you know, in the early 1900s, it was a really kind of barren landscape in our understanding of cancer. Progress was slow, if not non-existent. Not much had changed in over 100 years. But at the dawn of the 20th century, this was all set to change. So following an anonymous letter, a chance meeting, two gentlemen shared an idea that would go on to lay the foundations for what we now know today as Cancer Research UK. So last year, Cancer Research UK celebrated its 120th anniversary. So 120 years of history and progress. And it was actually 20 years ago that we were formerly known as Cancer Research UK, but, and what we are now as the world's leading cancer charity. So we're the largest independent funder of cancer research in the world, which is, again, just amazing to think that a UK charity can have just such a global stretch and impact. But cancer is really complex. There are over 200 different types. We're the only charity that's fighting them all, including the hardest to treat cancers where medical advances are really urgently needed. We fund half of all cancer research in the UK, and we're entirely funded by the public. So we don't receive government funding. So we're here to save lives, and we're here because of our amazing public. So as I said, cancer is not a single disease, and there are many different types. But why do we need to put so much effort into cancer research? Well, because it affects far too many people. So over 375,000 people in the UK are diagnosed every year, and around 33,000 of those are in Scotland. You may have seen this startling statistic that 1 in 2 of us could face cancer in our lifetime. In the 1970s, survival rates were low and less than a quarter of people survived their cancer. But thanks to research and progress driven by Cancer Research UK, survival rates have doubled, and more people than ever are surviving their cancer. And right now, we really see this as a crucial time in our history because it's Cancer Research UK's mission to accelerate the rate of progress further still. And in the same way that I'm able to say and reflect back, on how far we've come since the 1970s, it's our mission to want to look, in the next 10, 20 years, to be able to look back and to say that survival rates have continued, to increase and progress has doubled further still. Because it's all about creating a world where people live longer, better lives free from the fear of cancer. And that really is kind of Cancer Research UK's mission and goal. So what do? We have, we have research is in our name, but it's certainly not all that we do. We provide some really, vital services for the public and for people that are affected by cancer. Our nurses, provide a great amount of support and information. But we also do things like delivering campaigns to encourage people to go and attend their screenings. Or to go and see their doctor if they have noticed something that's changed in their body, or if they've had a symptom of in their, they have questions. So we do a lot of that kind of really fundamental stuff that's just really trying to encourage people to, speak up, go to the doctors. If you get that, your screening letter through the door, don't put it off, let's go for it. So we do some really kind of basic things like that, which is just really important for people's health. Since 2006, we've had our Cancer Awareness Roadshow. So they're a passionate team of experienced nurses who go out into the community and talk to people about cancer. So that's just kind of chatting about small health changes that can reduce people's cancer risk, but also just encouraging them to know what's normal for them, their body, again, giving them the confidence to go to the GP. So our roadshow team actually help thousands of people every year. And it's just an amazing kind of service that's a kind of, they're kind of, as the name says in the tin, they're the roadshow, they're getting out there and they're speaking to people, and that's just amazing. And one thing that I think we just we don't shout out enough about, or maybe we do, but we maybe just take it for granted, but we have an amazing verified and trusted website. So around £1 million, not £1 million, sorry, 1 million people per month visit our website, which provides up-to-date information about cancer. So it's written by experienced cancer nurses. It's continually updated to make sure that all the information is current, reflects all the latest cancer developments. But, as I'm sure you'll agree, the internet is an amazing thing. There's so much information at your fingertips, but knowing who to trust and knowing where to go for really, solid, verified, trusted information, and that's what Cancer Research UK provides, which is a great tool for people out there. We keep cancer on the political agenda. So we've actually had some great successes over the last 20 years, some that you might remember. In 2006, we successfully campaigned for the smoking ban. So obviously that really changed kind of how we lived our life, or how we maybe experience things. Certainly helped, helped create a healthier environment. And since then we've lobbied to cover up the tobacco displays and introduce the plain cigarette packaging. And now our next kind of mission is to go for that smoke-free UK by 2034. In 2010, we successfully campaigned to restrict under 18s from accessing sunbeds, which again, kind of now when you're reflecting on it, sounds like a no-brainer, but it's those sort of proving those vital kind of links between, sun safety and UV rays, and connecting the dots and protecting our kind of next generation, and just getting that information out there, and that campaigning work. We have a lot of volunteers that play a vital role actually in that, so you can see from some of the pictures there. We fund over 4,000 scientists, doctors and nurses. So our research is spread across the UK, providing a vital kind of class of network, world-class network of cancer expertise. So we have kind of world-leading hubs of research, and they're really joint ventures between kind of universities, NHS, other trusts. So we're really collaborative because we want to work with the greatest people out there, and really kind of lead that way to make a difference. So, we work with the smartest minds, we bring the smartest minds, and we make sure that discoveries are turned into benefits for people with cancer. We have our institutes here. So these are our 4 kind of leading institutes. Basically, researchers have everything that they need in one building, from the most high-tech, science equipment, the best scientists specialising in many kind of different areas of research. And Scotland is actually home to several of our research facilities. So we have our Scotland Centre, as well as our very prestigious Beatson Institute in Glasgow, which you'll see here. And our researchers in Scotland, have a great area of expertise and a great range of areas as well. So kind of bowel and pancreatic cancer. Our scientists in Edinburgh have a particular expertise in brain tumour research. And they're part of a brain tumour centre of excellence. So it's a real kind of gold standard in the world, dedicated to discovery and evolution of new brain treatments. So there's a lot going on in Scotland, that we should be really proud of. And actually pre-pandemic, we were able to arrange kind of behind the scenes lab tours and things, which were always really fascinating. So fingers crossed, and there's the hope that they'll start to be unlocked, as the kind of pressures on those sorts of resources can be eased, because it would be brilliant to get people back into those. In fact, maybe there's people in this group that have attended one of our lab tours over the years, because it is something that's been really popular in the past. But yeah, here's hoping that becomes open again to us. And our experimental cancer medicine centre, so that's really helping to bring new treatments to the clinic, and it helps to give people with cancer access to cutting edge treatments, which is fantastic. So we focus on areas of research with the greatest potential to beat cancer, and we do this by tackling cancer from all fronts. So we're looking at the discovery, prevention, detection, and treatment. I'll just touch a little bit about kind of what each of those headlines mean. So in terms of discovery, that's about kind of, well, every new discovery we make brings us closer to beating it, because we need to know about it so that we know how to tackle it. So our researchers have been making these discoveries ever since we began, 120 years ago. And actually it's given us a real legacy of kind of life-saving medicines. And actually there are 50 cancer drugs in use today that are because of discoveries that have been made in Cancer Research UK, and those are 50 cancer drugs that are used, still used today and all over the world. We have our detections, so that's, you know, cancer that's detected early is more likely to be treated successfully. So diagnosing and treating cancer at an earlier stage is one of the most promising areas through which we can impact cancer survival. So through raising an awareness of symptoms of cancer and researching new ways to screen for the disease, then that's, you know, that's an area that we know will help save more lives in the future. So that's quite a big part of our job. Cancer survival has doubled in the past 40 years, which is fantastic. So we've made great progress, but we know we need to continue doing more. In the UK, the number of people living with cancer is predicted to rise from around 3 million currently to almost 4 million by 2030. So with the increasing number of cancer cases, prevention actually is the best long-term strategy to control the disease. So, you know, stopping cancer before it even, you know, before it starts. So we need to make sure that everyone gets the information and the support that they need to live kind of healthier lives, to reduce the risk and to put the odds in our favour. So we do this by campaigning for healthier environments. So some of the examples I was talking about earlier with kind of sun safety or tackling smoking. But a recent example of prevention that you might have kind of seen in the news over the last few years, again, just stopping cancer happening in the first place, is the HPV vaccine, and also, you know, that together with the cervical screening program. And that really is a kind of huge achievement, because it means that the next generation in the UK will probably never have to worry about cervical cancer in the way that previous generations have. And interestingly enough, it was our researchers in Glasgow that laid the groundwork for the HPV vaccine with their kind of pioneering work into this area. So another kind of proud achievement for Scotland, but that's just, you know, an example of one particular kind of cancer, and it just shows how, you know, the kind of the impact on having a vaccine for a cancer is, you know, really really incredible. And obviously looking to see how we can take that and you know, apply that to other cancers. Yeah, so yeah, really exciting there. Now treating, so doctors now have a huge array of treatments at their disposal, and Cancer Research UK has been a key player in the development of many of these important pillars of our treatment. So our funding, as I said, has played a role in more than 50 cancer drugs. But one statistic I just think is amazing is that 8 out of the world's top 10 cancer drugs were developed by Cancer Research UK. And it just shows the kind of the impact that a UK-based charity funded by our amazing public, you know, and the global impact that that's having, because you know, of the world-class treatments that are able to come from our work. But we do know that existing treatments don't work for everyone, because some people can, you know, have severe side effects, and that can reduce people's quality of life. So we are continuing to fund, you know, into this vital area, because we want to fund new cancer treatments, but we also want to make sure that existing treatments are as kind and as effective as possible, because that will reduce side effects, that will, you know, allow people to live better, more fulfilling lives, you know, because of that. So it's not just always about the new treatments, it's about looking at what's already available and working out how to make it better, how to make it more efficient. So maybe someone doesn't need as high a dose, or they maybe don't need as many, you know, treatments, which means less trips to the hospital. You know, it's all of that we're thinking about it from the patient's point of view as well, which is really important. And our vision our vision for a better future is, you know, where some types of cancer are effectively eliminated and many more are prevented from developing in the first place. People who do develop cancer are diagnosed at the earliest possible stage. Treatments are more effective, kinder, and more personalized, you know, to that particular patient, because we know everyone is different and people's bodies respond differently, and a future where everyone shares in this progress equally, regardless of who they are, where they're from, or what type of cancer they have. Because again, I've heard, talk about postcode lotteries when it comes to, treatments or particular cancers having kind of a bit of a, better range of treatment available. So that is certainly, that's our mission. That is what we're here to do. And that is kind of, this is what we're aiming for, because it's to improve lives and save lives. But we're going to have a little bit of a game. It's called, well, guess the fruit. So it's an MRI scan. But Cancer Research UK's work over the last, years has impacted many aspects of cancer diagnosis and treatment. So one of the areas where we have made a huge difference is radiotherapy. In fact, before I go into the game, if you haven't got a pen and paper, you might want one, but I'll be trusting you to mark your own. So, but if you don't have a pen and paper, that's okay as well. You can just have a think when you see them on the screen. But yeah, our researchers have played a key role in the development of radiotherapy, and that was, back in the 1920s actually, when all that started. The work, first started on that, and we're still to this day looking for ways to make it better and kinder, and more effective for patients. And a recent development with radiotherapy has been what's called MRI guided therapy. So that's a new way of kind of using the MRI machine to help what the doctors are doing, using radiotherapy. So radiotherapy, if you're not aware, it's a tool used to treat many types of cancer. It kind of blasts the tumor with radiation, so it's kind of destroying cancer cells. But sometimes it can cause some damage to kind of surrounding tissue. And for some people, it could, result in some unpleasant side effects. But thanks to this new kind of MRI guided radiotherapy, so thanks to this new technology, clinicians are able to image the patient as they're receiving radiotherapy. And I've seen a video of it, and it's even as much detail as, a patient maybe moves when they're in the machine, or they're breathing, so their body is moving. And this allows them to be see the radiation going as the body is moving in a kind of live time. And it's pretty amazing. It makes sure that the treatment is only going into the patient, into the tumor, in the right place at the right time. And it means that only the healthy tissue is the healthy tissue is protected, and it's only the cancer cells that's being targeted. So fewer side effects, treatments kinder for patients. So that's just an amazing kind of use of the existing MRI machine coupled with radiotherapy to make things better. And if you didn't know, so this is what an MRI machine looks like. So it might be something that you might have been in one yourself, or know someone that has. It's kind of a big machine that looks a bit like a donut, really. It's the kind of ring, and I've had people describe it, the kind of experience to us, and the kind of maybe the loud noises that you hear in the machine. And obviously it's very different for everyone. Sometimes your doctor lets you choose some music to have as you go on. But yeah, if you haven't seen one, this is kind of what it looks like. So when we're looking at our MRI images, in a few seconds, it's been taken by a machine just like this, and it works using magnets and radio waves. So it creates an image of the person's body, or the organs, and the organs that are inside. And it does this, it kind of shows all angles. It's a real cross section. And it's amazing, as you can understand. It's a really helpful tool for doctors to see what's going on inside the body, so they can kind of work out what's the best thing for the patient. So now is your time to be a radiographer. So we're going to have a look, and we're going to have a look at some images. They are real MRI images, but don't worry, they're not of people. They're of fruit and vegetables. but they're real MRI pictures. So it's going to show up in black and white, just like how a radiographer would be looking at the pictures. And it's going to be our job to guess which fruit or vegetable we have imaged from the picture. So ready for our first one?
Yes.
Excellent. First one is, well, what is it? Is it an artichoke? Is it a cauliflower? Is it a cabbage? Is it a Brussels sprout? So, I mean, I just always think these images are quite beautiful, really. You know, when you see something up close and you see it from a different perspective than from what we're used to. I have to say I'm rubbish at this game. So when I first did it, I don't think I. So there's no pressure, but I'll be really interested to hear how y'all got on. So have a little write down of your answer, and we'll give you a couple of seconds, and then I will reveal the answer, and we'll see if there was any surprises. So the answer to this is it's a cabbage.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you know, it's just interesting. So I think we'll learn as we go along. We'll learn as we go along. Next one. Next one. Sometimes people are really quick with this one. They know exactly what it is. I've delivered this with some kids groups before who love this game, and it's really fascinating. Some have, you know, they know exactly what they're doing. I have had some kids who have had full marks, but then adults who have got them, adults like me, have got them wrong. So, do we think this is a strawberry? Do we think it's a kiwi, an orange, or a pineapple? And I've been told that there's two that people kind of think, oh, it's either that or it's either that. I'll give you a couple of seconds to look for a reveal. Strawberry, kiwi, orange, or pineapple. Okay, I'm going to reveal the answer, and the answer is it's a kiwi. Now, the next one I'm going to do a bit differently. So the next one, because this can happen when, you know, doctors can do this. So it might be useful for them to compare two images. So this one, we are comparing two images, two fruits, but one of them is an apple. So what do we think? We want you to find the apple. And again, I think this one's really pretty hard, because, you know, we've all cut into an apple. What does it look like? But actually these are, yeah. And it just really, to me, it shows, obviously we're doing this with fruit, but when a doctor is doing this in their area, you know, specialized area, the detail that they're looking at and the patterns and the things that they know what should be where and what they're looking for, I just find it absolutely fascinating. Very clever people. So yeah, so anyway, back to our apple. The answer is it's B.
Mhm.
It's B. So that's the apple. So a little bit of information. So yeah, so as we said, you know, you can see the kind of structure from the inside of the fruit and vegetable, which is why it's just such a useful tool for doctors. So doctors can, you know, it can help a doctor to measure blood flow to the cancer, which is important to help decide what the treatment's going to be. Another thing they can do is by doing scans at different times, is they can tell whether a treatment's working by checking whether the size of the cancer has changed, or maybe by checking if there's anything else has changed in the body. So again, you know, in that kind of side-by-side comparison, you see that, you know, another possible way of, just rather than just looking at a standalone image, what that might be doing. But yeah, really, really valuable bit of kit for our doctors. But we'll see how you get on with the next one. So, and again, this one, it's a hard one. It's a hard one. So, what do we think this is? Do we think it's a passion fruit? Do we think it's a pomegranate, grapes, or papaya? I have to say, I couldn't even picture what a papaya looked like. So maybe I should buy one before I do this session again. I'll have a papaya and see. So have we written an answer down?
Yep.
And I will reveal the answer.
Mhm.
It's a passion fruit.
Mhm.
And just in case anyone was thinking it was something else beginning with P, but not papaya, yes, we've been told that it's very similar to a pomegranate. So I thought I would pull the pomegranate in an image and you can compare and it's really similar. So this is what a pomegranate actually looks like. But I'll give you a little bit of a kind of bit more information about what we're looking at. So the MRI works by activating water molecules contained in the body, or in this case, the fruit. And so the more water that's in the tissue, the more it's activated, which in turn makes the image brighter. So when you're looking at this image of the pomegranate, the white areas are the areas that contain the most water. And then on the flip side of that, the darker areas are the more solid part of the fruit. So maybe that will help give us a clue for the next one that we look at. The kind of lighter is the water, and the darker is the kind of dense solid area of the fruit. So this one's really quite different from the other ones that we've looked at. You can see quite a structured edge there, a really defined center. And then using our kind of light and dark, what we know there, what do we think this is going to be? So is it a coconut, a mango, a melon, or an avocado? I will tap to reveal, and it's an avocado. Success. And we're going to end on a high. We're going to end on a high. Hopefully this will be full marks for everyone. What do we think this is? So this is quite bright, quite a lot of water content here. Lemon, tomato, fig, cucumber. And we have chosen some water-based things there. So just, it couldn't make it too easy for you. But yeah, what do we think it is? I will tap to reveal. It's a tomato. Thank you for playing. But MRI isn't a new technology. So actually the first image, the first image of a person was over 40 years ago. And as I mentioned earlier, our scientists are just always looking for new ways to improve on existing technologies and existing treatments. And actually our scientists wouldn't be able to have these, new bits of equipment or new bits of information if it wasn't for the new discoveries, that was, being supported by the public. So, without amazing people like you, things like that just wouldn't be possible. So as we kind of touched on earlier, so I'm your local legacy relationship manager. So as well as raising awareness when I'm not out delivering talks in the community or out at events meeting amazing volunteers, I'm here to support individuals who have decided to leave a gift in their will, and to be available, of course, to those that may be considering it in the future or people who just want to know a little bit more. So Gifts and Wills just fund over a third of our research. So without them, we just simply wouldn't be able to make the progress that we've made at Cancer Research UK. In that 120 years of history, people choosing to leave a gift is just so precious to the charity, and really does make a huge difference. And of course, people leave gifts of all shapes and sizes. For some people, it's items. It could be a car, it could be a house, it could be a painting. Some people, it could be a monetary gift, or increasingly a percentage gift, or of what's left, kind of once taxes and other gifts have been paid. And these are what's called a residuary gift. So leaving a residuary gift is the most kind of effective way to remember the people and causes you love, because it will retain its value and not be affected by inflation. And one of the examples that we have of that is, let's say if you left £1,000 to your favourite nephew in 1970. Now, back in the 1970s, that might have bought him a big down payment on a house. I think the average house price was around £4,000. And now, because of inflation and the kind of value of money and how that's changed over the decades, I mean, well, unfortunately, it would barely pay a month's rent in some places. But with a percentage gift, 10% is always 10%. So for many people, it's kind of that peace of mind that when they're knowing that what they're leaving and what they're intending is what it's going to be. But the people who've remembered, Cancer Research UK in their will, over the years really have helped get us where we are today. They've created a lasting legacy to beat cancer for future generations. And I don't think those people could have guessed, the changes that would have come about, or the kind of advances in technology, or the amazing kind of detail and knowledge that we have, and the number of lives that have been able to be saved because of that. But I hope they would have been, really incredibly proud of what they've helped make possible. And it is a really special part of my role to be able to support individuals who are thinking about writing a will or updating their will. And so I just always kind of want to tell people that we do have an amazing team here to help answer any questions, or to be able to send out information if anyone wanted to read anything in their own time. And another, amazing part and lovely part of my role is that I get to organise special legacy events throughout the year, always at a beautiful location. And you get to meet and hear directly from one of our scientists or research specialists about kind of what's happening locally on our doorstep in the world of research. So really hearing that kind of behind the scenes of our latest treatment breakthroughs, and the opportunity to chat with our staff and like-minded supporters while being treated to a nice lunch is always a nice day. But they're so inspiring. I always get something when, take something away and learn something new when I hear from one of our scientists or research specialists. It's always really fascinating. And to be honest, I don't think there's anything better than having a meaningful chat with a supporter or a volunteer over a cup of tea and a cake. So I will be sending out kind of my contact details and things, through Pauline at the end of this. And if that's something, if these sort of events is something that you'd be interested in finding out more about, or, coming along to, and, bringing someone, they are complimentary events. And like I say, always really inspiring. So I'll send out details after anyway. So if that's something that you'd like to know more about. But enough about me. I thought I would just end on a bit of a roundup on some of the great things that are happening in Scotland, some things that you might want to get involved in, and again, some of our kind of support services that are might be relevant to some people. And I love these pictures. The kind of sea of pink. I don't know if anyone's done one of our Race for Life events, but it really is like that. It's brilliant. But yeah, last year in Scotland we had 6,000 participants that took part in Race for Life events. Over in Scotland, raising over £600,000 between them, which is amazing. We had 1,000 people who volunteered in our 80 shops. And actually, our 80 shops in Scotland raised over £13 million last year. So that's incredible. So thank you. If anyone volunteers or shops in one of our shops or donates, I know they're kind of a staple in many high streets, so I'm sure you'll have one close by. We had 13 corporate partners in Scotland who collectively raised over £60,000. So kind of partnering up with small businesses and large businesses in kind of lots of different ways is a really kind of valuable way that people are coming together, and organisations are really supporting us. And we had 1,000 people in Scotland who last year pledged a gift in their will to Cancer Research UK, again kind of funding those discoveries of the future. So there's amazing things happening in Scotland, and amazing ways that people are choosing to support, and the way that kind of means the most to them. And when we talk about kind of volunteering and getting involved, in this climate, it's just, when we're talking about positive impacts in the community, and tackling social isolation and increasing self-esteem, and meeting new friends, building new skills, I think volunteering is just so valuable. And we truly believe that regardless of if you have an hour to spare, or more, it just makes a world of difference. We couldn't do what we do without our amazing volunteers. They really are our kind of family, UK-wide network, and do amazing things. But volunteering it could be in one of our local shops. It could be about being a media volunteer, so sharing your story to help raise awareness or to help bring hope to others. Or it could be getting involved in local fundraising events. There's so many ways to get involved. And the new year is always a great time to find something new or to try something new. So again, that's something that I can help connect you with if it was something that you were looking to explore, even as a one-off or something that you wanted to know a bit more of. And this, I think, is really important. So our patient involvement, so that's about putting people affected by cancer at the heart of what we do. So, the insight of people affected by cancer and cancer patients is right now helping us to beat cancer. And there are I just brought a few examples, but there's a kind of a whole network of things really that we have and how we involve cancer patients. But some of the things that people can do right now, for example, taking part in a survey about your taste buds. So if you've been through cancer, sharing your perception, your experience of food perception while living with cancer is so valuable and really will help doctors or caregivers, or even like our family and support networks, to understand what we're going through, and really, hearing those kind of real life experiences of what you went through, or if it's maybe your cancer treatment was 10 years ago and you're still to this day tasting something a bit different. We've heard those stories, and that real life experience is just invaluable. There's an online survey about chemotherapy treatment, so really sharing your experience, helping, that will help improve chemotherapy treatment and cancer care for the future. So again, just sharing that experience. We've got an activity which is about joining our Cancer Awareness in the Workplace panel. So you could help shape our programme that helps to raise awareness of early diagnosis and prevention in the workforce. So it could be your cancer experience together with your kind of professional skills or professional network. That's maybe an area of expertise for you and something that you could kind of lend your voice to. But we do have what we call our patient involvement network. So if it was something that you were, that sounds like something I might want to know more about, or I'd be keen to see what opportunities or surveys or one-off things there are, then again, that's something I can send you a link for to join the network, and you could receive newsletters with kind of the latest opportunities and find if there was something that really appealed to you, because I truly believe it makes a difference. And our supportive services for everyone in the community. So we have a cancer chat forum, so it's a moderated discussion forum run by Cancer Research UK, kind of 365 days of the year, where you can talk to others affected by cancer, share experiences, get support, a really kind of safe environment to kind of share those things. We have taught cancer workshops, which I personally have been on as well. In fact, the next workshop is free as well. The next workshop's on Tuesday, the 4th of April. But basically, we believe that talking about cancer can save lives. So it's really building confidence and skills in having those sort of conversations. So we think that's really important. Again, just pointing to some of the vital resources on the website. So coping with cancer as a really key topic. There's a whole kind of wealth of information there, from something as simple as kind of a reading list with suggested books that might be helpful to you or your family if you're going through cancer, or have been through cancer, to kind of coping physically and mentally to support your recovery and well-being. So there's a lot of great information to kind of support groups or resources or different ways to support. We have our free will service, so available all year round, making will writing easy and accessible to everyone. So for more information about this service, or to find your closest participating solicitor, then of course get in touch. I'd be delighted to help. And our nurses helpline is just so valuable, a free and confidential helpline to speak to a cancer nurse. So that's Monday to Friday, 9 till 5, available to everyone. So if you or someone close to you have been affected by cancer and you have questions, then to be able to pick up the phone, this free phone number. So that's just a kind of snapshot of some of the things that we have available, to everyone and to all, and making that accessible is just really important to us. And yeah, so thank you. So none of those services, none of the treatments, none of the discoveries, that I talked about would be possible without the support of amazing people like you. So in whatever way you support us, simply by listening this evening, you're helping to raise awareness, and you're playing a big part in that. So just thank you so much. And as it says, together we've come so far, and together we're going to go much further still, because we're optimistic for the future. We know what we need to do. We know there's a lot of still kind of need out there, urgent need, and that's our mission and our goal. But yeah, thank you for listening. This is Sophie, me and Sophie. This is my counterpart. So Sophie's also kind of out in the community as well in Scotland. So you might, if you see a big pink banner with this with this on it, the likelihood is it's going to be me and Sophie out in the community.